Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Dev and I are continuing Middara.
We're doing it.
We just got done doing the longest boss in, I think, the history of gaming. We just defeated, I've already forgotten her name.
Alana.
I was like, Anna? Alana and Catharsis, or whatever. Catharsis, which we have now. And we are seeing what the aftermath of that is. If you haven't watched that boss fight, because you saw the runtime, long story short, don't kill the worm. Just don't even bother. And
like first fight, focus her for sure.
Yeah.
So then she's weaker, and then you can just focus her down more.
That's true. Yeah, because it just
I would have
sticks.
made that. It's fairly simple.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but I mean, it makes you think, because I mean, they I guess they tempt you with the worm because it's easier to hit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hindsight, I mean, because you're doing your own campaign, yeah, that's what you're gonna do.
Oh yeah, like no, ignore that guy.
We want to fight him. Well, you're not playing then. But we will see what's going on. This is most likely going to be a reading, listening episode. So stick around for the story. So I'll repay you one day.
I'll repay you one day. Nightingale held the worm's neck down with all of her strength, pushing it into the broken stone floor. Normally, she would have had no hope against a monster like this, but now, bleeding from 100 wounds, the worm was barely able to fight back. Zephyr's sword came down next to her, and she felt the creature spasm one last time. Black ichor came boiling up out of the stump beside her, steaming and frothing as it spattered on the ground.
Even the story didn't expect us to kill it.
Oh, did it give us a separate one?
No, but it's talking about just how we're now killing the worm, but it's like that was an achievement we could have done. And the other one, maybe the wording I read a little bit different. Maybe we didn't actually kill it, but anyway.
At last, the monster was still. Nightingale rose, making her way over to where Breeze had cornered a bruised and broken Alana. "Please," Alana begged, her voice ragged and raspy. "You couldn't kill one of your own sisters." There was no compassion in Breeze's face. "How dare you?" she growled, her expression full of rage. "After what you've done." She reached out as vines sprouted from the ground in front of her. They moved like snakes, wrapping around Alana's neck and squeezing tightly. "You killed your own clan. You corrupted the land. You are a parasite, a threat, a disgrace. You will plague our lands no more. You will kill no more. You will be no more." Alana clawed at the vines around her neck, fingers struggling in vain against their grip. She croaked and gasped, but any other words were lost. Nightingale didn't watch, but she could hear the girl thrashing in the dirt. A few seconds later, and the struggling noises finally stopped. When she turned back around, Alana's dead eyes were staring blankly at the sky. Breeze walked to where Ursi was huddled against one of the walls, taking shelter from the battle. She rose with Breeze's help, and both turned to leave. They stopped in the ruined doorway as Breeze looked back, meeting Nightingale's eyes. "Thank you," Breeze said. "Without your help, we..." Nightingale crossed the distance in a few quick strides, embracing Breeze with an enthusiastic hug. She felt Breeze stiffen under her grip, surprise on her face. "What?" Nightingale let her go, smiling brightly. "Come on, Breeze! We did it! Your sister is safe, my friends are safe, the Anointed are safe, and Gehenna is a better place. Isn't that worth celebrating?" The nymphs shared a confused look. Nightingale watched in very slow...
No, our entire race was just massacred. But you and one other person are safe. Right. It concerns me that you don't understand what is going on.
Breeze shook her head. "Our whole tribe was nearly wiped out," Breeze said, eyes on the ground. Nightingale suddenly felt very small and very silly. "But it wasn't completely wiped out thanks to you," Breeze continued. "Ursi and I made it, and I suppose that is worth celebrating." Breeze reached up, removing a wooden brooch she wore. "It's not much, But please take this. Nightingale took it, feeling the smooth surface of the wood. The nymph had somehow managed to mingle uncut gemstones into it, as though it had grown around them instead of being carved. Breeze nodded contentedly. Consider it a token of my debt. Someday, I'll find a way to repay you for your help. She turned away, reaching over to help Ursi again. They smiled at Nightingale gratefully before they moved to leave. Good luck, Nightingale called, watching from the doorway as they made their way out into the streets. The branches of nearby trees reached down to them, lifting them up over the walls and out of the city.
All right, we get the homemade brooch. Okay, this is gonna be good for a lot of people. Not her, actually. It gives you +4 defense.
Ooh.
Conviction upgrade to blue.
Oh, shit.
And gives you haste. Just a passive, gain haste.
Let's see. Oh, it's a core.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, dog.
Yep.
Haste?
Yep. Just passive, gain haste.
That's a sexy little core right there.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know who we won it on, but that is there. Zeke is a good one. His conviction upgrade is trash, but Remy could also be a really good one with haste. So we got some options. Some options there. All right, then we continue on to a Gehenna morning. A Gehenna morning. Man, there was a lot of different things. Oh my god! I just saw some art.
Is it brutal?
It is. You want to see it?
Sure. Oh god!
Yeah, that's what I quickly saw. Do you think that's a win? Do you think
a win condition?
Do you think that's a story ending? Okay, yeah, Gehenna morning. Where is it? There we are.
Gehenna morning.
It's always
They
Nightingale
encountered
getting
little
murdered.
resistance.
Huh?
It's always Nightingale getting murdered.
It really is.
Pictures.
I mean, that's probably a lot of lose conditions is her dying because she is the MC.
As they made their way across the sunken city of Gehenna, it seemed like battling Alana had frightened away the lesser monsters. With any luck, they would stay gone until they were done in the city. They found the anointed base camp exactly as they had left it. It had enough supplies for a group several times their size, which meant plenty in the way of first aid. Nightingale desperately wanted to rest. She hadn't had a proper sleep in well over 24 hours, and she was feeling it. Her head faintly buzzed with exhaustion. Her reactions were slow, and her limbs felt numb. As she went, however, Zephyr called for her and the rest of her friends to join him in the center of camp. She paused for a moment and considered ignoring him, but reluctantly went to see what he wanted. Someone had started a fire, and slightly burned biscuits sat in a neat row on a tray beside it. Nightingale scooped one into her hand as she took a seat, hardly even noticing the awful taste. Zephyr explained to the others what Nightingale already knew, telling the story of how they'd come to Gehenna and been separated and killed off by its traps. Nightingale did her best to stop from nodding off, though Rook had to nudge her more than once. I should have been here, Justice said, her voice halfway to a sob. Their deaths are my fault. If I'd been back sooner... No. Zephyr pulled her briefly into an affectionate hug. It's my fault. I underestimated the danger. If you had come with us into Gehenna to begin with, you might have been killed. He hesitated, glancing between Nightingale and the rest of the group. Where is Gast and Laura? Gast? Laura? Democles asked, looking confused. The ones that were in the mines with me, Justice explained. Zephyr left me behind with them, but the book told me where a Pontifex piece was. It was nearby in Hyde. Justice looked sheepish as she explained why she left the camp in the first place. I figured you'd be in the library with the rest of the Anointed long enough for me to travel to Hyde and back. Zephyr's interest was immediately piqued. A Pontifex piece?
Yeah, this.
This close?
Yeah.
No, Justice. You made the right choice. Above all else, we must find those pieces. What happened then? Justice patted herself off before sitting down by the fire. When we arrived, we weren't the only ones looking for it. Those grim deacons were there again. I killed them. I mean, not all of them. Justice averted her gaze from Zephyr. Gast and Laura were killed in the confrontation. Zephyr frowned. They'll be missed. What of the grim deacons, though? Justice looked back at him and continued. One of them got away. A grim deacon named Echo. Zephyr visibly tensed at the name. Justice didn't seem to notice and continued. I thought I'd killed her too, but she showed up again. Justice turned, acknowledging Nightingale and her friends. I was imprisoned, but these guys helped me out. I would be stuck there if it wasn't for them. Even if I had gotten out, Echo would have come back to kill me. Justice went on, explaining the rest of what had happened in Hyde. She recounted their confrontation in the mine, and the way Echo had used a concentrated form of the blight to turn Hendrix Patel into a twisted monster. I'm glad you made it, Zephyr said absently, but I must know, what of the Pontifex piece? Did you get it? Justice looked towards Nightingale. She has it. Nightingale smiled and reached into her shirt and pulled out the white stone, hanging from a strap. Got it! Zephyr sighed with visible relief. That makes two, then. Zephyr pulled a chain from his pocket and dangled another piece. We're one step closer to finally completing it, thanks to all of you. He looked towards Nightingale and grinned. After everything that's happened here, though, we still have no idea why Charon is after the damn Pontifex. Charon? Rook asked. I thought some Council of Abhorrence wanted it. Zephyr turned to him and then back to Justice. The girl simply shrugged, acknowledging that she had told him something about the Council of Abhorrence. He's a member of the Council, Zephyr said flatly. We've been trying to discover what the Pontifex could be used for. Oh, that! Justice perked up visibly. I think I know what it does. This got Nightingale's attention. She found her drowsiness briefly faded, and she sat up. You know what the Pontifex does? Yeah, Justice smiled. It was the first real smile Nightingale had seen since they'd fought Alana. We found the book down in the library. The language was really vague, but it was clear about being able to seal and unseal entities, like a skeleton key, but for espers. It's a really powerful one by the sound of it. Zephyr looked up, expression solemn. That is very useful information, Justice. Nightingale expected him to offer more insight, but he didn't. After a moment, Zephyr rose abruptly, turning away from them. I'm going to get some rest. I would suggest that each of you do the same. We can speak further in the morning. There are plenty of empty tents. Our lost friends will not be needing them.
Imagine after going through this entire ordeal, like you're getting racked by tentacles and stuff and getting magic, like your mind fucked up, almost dying, and then you get to go sleep on the hard fucking ground in a tent. Like, oh, yay! Like my reward. Because it's been a while since I've been camping, but it's not comfortable.
No, it really isn't.
I guess maybe if you're fucking exhausted, it doesn't matter.
Use whatever you need. After Zephyr left, Nightingale wandered through the empty ring of tents until she spotted Remy's face poking out from one. She ducked inside. It was sweltering warm inside, but she was too tired to care. Remy was already in bed, her armor and weapons piled beside the cot,
In her nest.
though she rested atop the bedroll instead of inside it. Gage was curled up beside her pillow. He opened one eye to watch Nightingale as she came in, then closed it again when he recognized her.
I was about to say, like, I mean, because Remy is pretty well endowed, so she's not a stomach sleeper, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's exclusively side sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's...
And, I mean, I'm a side sleeper. No, I'm a stomach sleeper. Like, when I'm not sleeping, I'm on my side. But then the rest is all on my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, it's, I mean, unless they can get, like, you can curl them up and they're really flat, like, against your back.
Maybe.
But, or she roosts.
Yeah, she just roosts. There's like one of those standing beds. Just
Yeah, I mean, because Nightingale has a tail. Like, that can be super fun to sleep with.
yeah.
Remy looked worse than anyone else in the group. Thick bandages and immobilizing splints were wrapped on her leg and one of her wings. Damn! Nightingale shrugged off her pack, dropping it beside the other empty cot. I was wondering why you didn't come to talk to Zephyr. Yeah, I got busted up pretty bad. Remy reached out, running one hand down Gage's back. The cat purred contentedly, otherwise unmoving. But these anointed guys had a bone-mending treatment stocked away. So guess who's gonna be feeling great tomorrow? She forced a smile. Yeah. Nightingale flopped sideways onto the cot, letting the bedroll swallow her.
All injured party members are no longer injured.
Hey.
So, yay. Everyone is back to normal, and Remy has 15 XP to spend.
All right. Fucking give us a shopping train for the love of God.
Yeah, I know. Nope, right back into it. Turns out Alana wasn't dead. She had another worm.
Nightingale woke the next morning to Remy's groans. She sat up slowly and looked over to where Remy still lay. Everything okay? That was the worst sleep of my life, Remy said. She stood and stretched, testing her wing and leg. Her bedroll looked damp from sweat. I felt like I rolled around all night, having nightmares from that potion they gave me. Looks like everything is working now, though. Did it hurt? Nightingale was genuinely curious. Remy looked much
A
better
little
in such a short
protruding
amount of
bone.
time.
Grew a little
It
funny.
amused her.
Remy, is that your shin bone? Yep. Gotta let the bones breathe a little.
Yeah, a bit. Better than a broken wing, though. Come on, let's get some breakfast. Remy did a little hop, obviously happy to be feeling better. Nightingale followed Remy to the campfire as she continued complaining about the sleep she had. Sometimes the cure is worse than the injury. Zephyr spoke up from behind them, startling Remy and Nightingale both.
Just peeping in the tent.
I'm surprised you wouldn't be more accustomed to painful treatments. You made your way to Gehenna. Whoever you are, you must be experienced adventurers, yes?
Uh-huh.
We generally avoid getting the crap kicked out of us.
No, we don't.
Remy grunted,
You
folding
lying.
her arms and kicking a nearby rock. No need for
We are
horrifying
seeking death.
concoctions. How long have you been doing this? Nightingale asked. Feels like forever, Zephyr answered, looking distant. Longer than Alinea has been a nation.
Oh, shit.
What was important enough to risk coming to Gehenna? Rook's voice was tired, but he was up and walking towards them. Rook, you're okay! Nightingale wrapped her arms around his waist in a tight hug. Rook returned it, and there was none of the awkwardness he had shown around her a few weeks ago. He was finally used to being around royalty. More than that, he was finally comfortable being her friend. I'm good enough, he muttered, rubbing at a fresh scar on his arm. But seriously, Zephyr, why even come here? What are you after? I think we should sit down.
Have a seat.
Zephyr
Brooke.
looked towards Remy. Mending potions can
Did
leave
you know
you with a
you were
wicked
here
hunger.
to talk to a 12-year-old?
Let's get you something to eat. Then we can talk. It didn't take long before they were all gathered around the campfire with bowls of gruel and hard crackers. To explain anything, you have to understand the reason the Anointed were formed, Zephyr began. It was because of Charon. He was... Zephyr shook his head. He is a god. Or he might as well be. Unlike many other unfathomably powerful beings, Charon is directly concerned with human affairs. He has the power to destroy entire kingdoms. If he was set loose, it wouldn't matter if the whole demiurge got together to stop him. He'd rule over them and anybody else who got in the way. If he were free, Damocles asked, does that mean he's trapped somehow? Yes. Zephyr tossed a fresh log into the fire. We captured him. Zephyr pointed at the remaining two Anointed alongside them at the fire. But just because his body is contained doesn't mean he can't influence the world. We learned that he was searching for something called a pontifex, an ancient artifact that was divided into 3 pieces. We could not allow him to assemble those pieces. 3 pieces? We only need 1 more then. Nightingale was practically bouncing in excitement. Maybe the Malum could be banished sooner than she thought. Zephyr nodded.
Do we know what the Malama is?
It's sort of like an Esper in a way. It's
Okay.
like an otherworldly being.
Okay. But we don't... I guess, I don't know if we would find out by now, but we don't assume it's like a part of Charon or anything like that. It could be its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it has its own name.
Okay.
So we don't know past
Okay.
that.
Only one more to go. We have no idea what it could be, though. We found the first one tailing the Grim Deacons. The second one came from Justice's book. Maybe it can tell us more. Justice coughed, trying to swallow food too quickly. I'll see. I was surprised it told me where the last piece was, though. So why would this Charon guy want the Pontifex pieces assembled? Rook asked, leaning closer. He was far more interested in the information than his food. We have you to thank for the answer, Zephyr admitted. You saved Justice and led her to the information we needed. She believes the Pontifex can seal and unseal entities. If that's true, well, I think maybe he's trying to find a way out of his prison. Zephyr leaned forward towards them, his eyes wide and his face intense. I cannot express to you how important it is that this not be allowed to happen. If Charon were to escape, he wouldn't just come for his enemies. He could remake the world. Destroying Elenia would only be the beginning. Tens of thousands might die. I can't speculate at the depth of his rage once freed. Charon no longer possesses a human mind, so comprehending his motives can be difficult. Human mind? Why would... Damocles began to ask a question, but stopped when Zephyr shook his head. It's time you answered some of my questions now. Zephyr leaned close. As much as I appreciate the help, I'm still unsure why you helped Justice escape the jail and hide. What motive did you have?
Zeke's
An
like,
uneasiness
she's
gripped Nightingale.
purdy.
She sat up a little straighter, tossing her empty bowl onto a nearby camp table. It landed with a thump, leaving her hands free. She rested them flat on her lap, within reach of her weapon if she needed it. Even as she did so, she realized how stupid she was being. They'd rescued Zephyr. They weren't in danger around him. This man and his surviving allies owed them. Nightingale soon realized what had her on edge. The Malama had appeared in the air beside her, a patch of dense shadow that congealed into a mass about a foot across. It shifted constantly, new orifices and organs bubbling up only to sink back into the shadow and dissolve again. Nightingale did not hear Zephyr's words, nor did she hear Rook's response. She was far too focused on the Malama. Judging on the lack of reaction, she guessed no one else could see it. It took a concerted effort to keep from looking at it. She didn't want anyone to know that the parasite was strong enough to manifest itself without her consent. He's going to kill you. The Malama's voice was no longer a grating whisper. It was as clear as day. Nightingale didn't answer. She just shook her head. It darted in front of her, catching her eyes with its own. She couldn't look away. The moment Zephyr discovers we are linked, he will stop at nothing to pry me out of your body. Even if that means killing you.
Can see that?
Just as quickly as it appeared, the Malama vanished. It was left with a haunting, sickening feeling in Nightingale's stomach. Justice said he could help us with something important, Rook said. Apparently Damocles had already explained his motives, and Nightingale suddenly registered that Rook was now talking about her. She quickly put her hand on Rook's leg, clearing her throat. It's not that important, Nightingale said, a little too enthusiastically. When Justice explained what was going on, we knew he had to help. And now that you've explained about the threat of Charon, my problem can wait. This is important enough that the royal family should assist you. Zephyr choked back a laugh. Really? Those puffed up aristocrat arsons don't think about anyone but themselves. King Balthazar never gave a damn before. What makes you think he'd give a damn now?
You okay?
I'm his daughter, Nightingale said, sitting up as
Funny
straight as
bone,
she
just
could.
right as
And I'm not
rolled it.
Balthazar. Like you said, Charon escaping could mean the end of Elenia. After what we've seen, I think there might be some truth to Charon's threat against... She paused, lifting a slender finger in the air with a grin. My kingdom. Zephyr opened his mouth to respond, but a shout from the other end of the camp interrupted him. He rose, setting down his plate. If you'll excuse me. He bowed slightly to her,
I have to
the
go plan your
gesture a
death.
little forced.
What?
Princess. He hurried off between the tents, leaving them alone. Rook waited until Zephyr was out of earshot to speak, meeting Nightingale's eyes with a confused look. What was that about? Isn't he the one Justice said could help you? Nightingale shook her head vigorously. We can't tell him. The Malum says he'll try to kill me. The parasite you came to remove says the one we think can get it out wants to hurt you. Damocles took a deep hand. And you're listening to it?
Well, he's my
Nightingale
favorite.
whined. Okay, it sounds stupid when you put it like that. She got up, frowning down at the ground. It doesn't hurt to be careful, though, right? The least we could do is talk to Justice about it first. We barely even know these anointed guys. We know you saved their lives, Rick pointed out, rising as well. You really think they'd turn on you after a favor like that? Nightingale didn't answer. Instead, she went looking for Justice. She found Justice near the back of the camp. Zeke had found a guitar. Where he'd gotten it, Nightingale could only guess, and he was strumming a few chords. Nightingale recognized them from a...
This one's called Water. My head is flowing. Flowing all the time. Yeah.
Now, Wonderwall.
Yeah. Oh, God, you're a tool. Look how sensitive I am. Because my voice is so fine. Every beer I've ever had.
Though she'd forgotten the name. It had been all over the radio a few weeks before she'd been taken to Middara. You had the time to play? Justice perched on a rock near him.
Oh, God.
She was practically swooning over Zeke's guitar hero skills.
His
All
guitar
the adventuring
hero
you're doing and you still practiced? That's amazing. Nightingale wasn't sure what a lie Zeke had told her, but she was certain he didn't do any adventuring before this. Hey! Nightingale sat down beside Justice, pulling over a nearby stool. Oh! Zeke jerked, eyes widening as he saw her. He stopped playing. Good to see you're okay, Night. Don't stop on my account, Nightingale said. Actually, maybe play a little louder. Yeah, okay. Zeke didn't complain that Nightingale was on board with his attempt at impressing Justice, so he started the song over. He played inexpertly, having to glance down and check the positioning of his hands every now and then. Behind Nightingale, Damocles and Rook settled in nearby, close enough to listen while still watching the camp for eavesdroppers. None appeared. Nightingale lowered her voice to a whisper and leaned in close to Justice. Hey, can I ask you a few questions? If I tell Zephyr about the Malama, how will he react? She asked. The Malama's convinced Zephyr will turn against me. Do you really think he'll help me? Justice's face paled. She finally looked away from Zeke and the guitar. Well, she took a deep breath, and then everything came out in a rush.
Oh.
He did kill someone once who had the Malama. It's one of Charon's own personal espers,
There we
and
go.
it's probably trying to set Charon free. There's nobody Zephyr hates more in the world than Charon. She took a long breath, looking at Nightingale with worried eyes. I'm sure we can convince him if we approach it right, Justice continued. The last time the Malama's host was working with it willingly, of course Zephyr had to kill him. He was a bad guy, but you're innocent. Zephyr's a good man. We just have to be careful how we tell him, and you'll be fine. Are you serious? Nightingale frowned. That would have been great information to know before he bailed you out of jail. Her voice raised in anger, and Zeke began strumming louder, praying that no one noticed the tension.
Oh, well, she did
Justice
promise that she knew someone that could help her, and I guess it was Zephyr. And it's like, didn't mention that, yeah, he killed someone that had a Malama in them once, so.
Technically not wrong. That did help her.
That helped them. Freed you from
From whatever the fuck
eternal
it is.
torment of this life.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you're in prison doing this massive thing, you'll probably tell anyone anything to help you, that'll help you get out.
Yeah.
Together and tried to make herself look even smaller than she already was. I needed to escape, though. I'm sorry, but I could have just used the book to blow the jail up, but I didn't want anyone else to get hurt because of me. Zephyr sounds much less cooperative than you suggested he would be in Hyde, Rook muttered. Kind of like it was a lie. Nightingale glanced at the side and flicked her tail. Maybe the parasite is telling the truth.
All right, Justice.
It wasn't a lie, Justice insisted. Zephyr will help. It just might take a little more convincing. Zeke tapped on the side of the guitar with one hand to get their attention. He was still strumming, though he was no longer playing anything specific, just a random progression of chords with some general musical suggestions to them. Justice, did you already tell Zephyr that Nightingale had the Malama? No, Justice admitted, eyeing the Pontifex piece around Nightingale's neck. I was going to do it tonight. If it's all right with you, Nightingale. If I'm the one to do it, I can make your case. You shouldn't be in danger. Nightingale hesitated. If you think that's the best way. Even so, she could feel her heart racing in her...
No. Yeah, well, if you think that's the best way, Nightingale finally said. Does the party have the story flag Book of Gehenna? We do.
Hey, baby.
So, hey, mama. So, now we go to New Revelations.
New Revelations. I do, Justice said, looking sheepish. Look, Knight, trust me, okay? I've been looking through this book, the one we found down in the library of Gehenna. Justice sat down, pulling the Book of Gehenna out. The book sat, draped over her thin thighs, its size even dwarfing the Book of Theodotion. Oh yeah, what did you find? Nightingale asked, curious. Behind her, Zeke had stopped playing his guitar and leaned in to see. A cursory read-through reaffirmed what I suspected, Justice said with a smile. Theodotion was widely used by those from Arcala. This book is really going to help me learn more about Theodotion. Given enough time to read it, I really think I can find more information about the Malama and how to kill it.
Justice has learned more about Theodotion. Justice gains the Portent of Brutality story discipline.
Oh, shit. Portent of
good
Brutality. Once per encounter, end your turn. Move your move your initiative card to the back of the initiative track. Continue the round as though you had not taken your turn.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So it's like, okay, I do my shit, and then go to the back and go again.
Wow, that's really good. That's super good.
When we hit that story round, I think I'm gonna do some respecking for these kids.
On Justice?
Possible, or Rook for sure. I might fiddle Remy around a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, alright, we go to Return of the Gatekeeper.
Return of the Gatekeeper. I think... Justice was interrupted by Remy as she made her way over. Hey, Knight! She pointed off into the distance, away from camp. One of those gatekeepers is headed our way. She looks friendly, but... Nightingale hopped to her feet and followed Remy's gaze. Sure enough, she saw the outline of a gatekeeper, her body covered only by bits of cloth. Hey, that's Lakshmi, the merchant from earlier.
Hey!
Nightingale jogged out from between the tents, leaving her weapon sheathed. Lakshmi, you're still here. For now. The gatekeeper stopped in front of her. Nightingale's friends came running to catch up. Rook in particular moved as quick as he could so Nightingale wouldn't be separated from the camp on her own. I have acquired more items of interest since our last meeting. Perhaps some of you wish to trade again. Lakshmi pulled a key from her bag and nodded at them.
Alright, continue the story around Gehenna Camp. There we are. So, yep, we can shop and train. A lot of side quests here.
Okay.
So you may spend gold and learn disciplines with XP, trade gear, story contains all items. Yeah, we're still in uncommon. All upgrades players have unlocked. We have a random uncommon unique item, and 3 random mundane common unique relics or accessories.
Nice.
So, yeah, side quest we can do is My Collection is Huge. I think, yeah, we have another, it looks like another,
nice.
Whatever that's called. Abraxas Battle Dice.
Sweet.
Side quest Lakshmi the Gatekeeper, and then can we do that one? The lonely girl. We need the last of her coterie side story flag, which we do not have. So we have 2 side quests that we could do, but that is where we will stop for this episode, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Stick around for the rest of the series. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.